Hello, hello, friends. Good to see you. Well, my thing got cattywampus here, but we'll be all right. We'll make it through. How are you? Good morning, good morning. So good to see everyone this morning. I have been looking forward to seeing your little digital faces and checking in with you this morning. I find this a profound gift. Word up! Word up! Everybody say. I learned that on ukulele actually. Someday I'll play it for you. It's very fun. It is a super fun ukulele song. You would not think so, but yeah, you know. Good morning, John. Oh, you good calling in train a new piece. Very good. That is awesome though. That is great to see that and to hear that new life, new things, new gadgets, new means of production, all those sorts of things coming into the world. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Hey, good morning, Donna. Good morning to you. Hope you're having a good morning. You are enjoying. I hope this is. It is gorgeous here. It is warm and beautiful. It is truly an Indian summer day here. So it was foggy this morning and walking the dog, and there was and it just, but it's all kind of burning off now, and it's just fabulous. So I hope you're having the same kind of day. It is. It's one for the books in today. Good morning, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing all right. Things are progressing along. Hope you're doing okay. We're got a little Hard Rock Cafe going this morning. Thank you very much. Oh goodness, hitting the kayak this afternoon after this. Nice, excellent. That sounds like perfection. I need to do that this afternoon. I call it going to church. Nice. Yep. Except the kayak's way better. Like church is much harder than the kayak. Like really. But we can talk about that someday. Maybe we should talk about that someday. That's a good idea. Put that one in the back of the head. Hi, morning, Sharon. Thank you for your post this morning. I so appreciated you sharing your beauty and you sharing your. I assume that's your backyard. That sharing just what's out there, as opposed to the chaos of the world. So nice. All mornings are good. God makes them that way. That is true. They are all a little moment of the resurrection that we get to taste here and now. But man, some of them speak to us better than others. I'll tell you what. Like all songs might be beautiful, but I don't like all songs. It's true. Yeah. So no, it's so good. I know. Wish I was going with you, John. I'm with you. I'm with you, John. That sounds like a way better way to move through this day. So glad you're getting out there. That's awesome. All right, friends. It is this day, Thursday, 10/22, the 22nd day of October. Hey, Andy. Good morning. Great. Glad you're here. That as and this so this morning I want to hey Sherry Ladd. Good morning, Irene. Everybody's showing up. Like good to see everybody. Yeah, some days we need. I should talk about that someday. That's another good one. Yeah, the lessons learned. Trust no one. That was the lesson I learned. Trust no one. Yeah. So John and I were in Boy Scouts together, and we were on a 10-mile hike, and my beloved dad put in a great big rock in my rucksack, which I did not know about until uh, about the end of about mile 9. And yeah, I had an emotional event, as you might imagine, so that's a story. Well, that's a story to be told one day too. Hey, Deb Votrin, so glad you're here. So glad you're with us this morning. Hope you're having a great day, enjoying this beauty of this day. So it is 11:11, and this morning I want to bring us, uh, this the, to this. There's a simple little line that comes out of First Peter. Now, so remember, this is Peter speaking to the church. He's speaking to the folks in Jerusalem, and And they're trying to figure out what to do after this, after the resurrection, after the formation of the church, after the Spirit is moving them left and right, and they are taking a beating, particularly in Jerusalem. That you can imagine that the early Christians are not having an easy go of it. And Peter has this little line that he offers them, and it's this beauty, which I just love it, and I come back to it again and again, and I wanted to share it with you today. And the God of all grace, who called you to his eternal glory in Christ, after you have suffered a little while, will himself restore you and make you strong, firm, and steadfast. Is that not a lovely promise? And I love it coming from Peter. Like there's something about it coming from Peter that makes it meaningful in a way that Peter, who is the most exuberant of the disciples, he's the guy that's always out front. He's the guy with the big heart and not a lot of brains. He's the guy that's simply, always ready to leap to the fore, and is not without. Yet his own problems, he is also the one that denies Jesus. He's also the one, but Peter comes, is central to the formation of the church, is central to the formation of what we know, and in the midst of suffering, he says these little words, and the God of all grace, who called you to his eternal glory in Christ, after you have suffered a little while, will himself restore you and make you strong and firm and steadfast. After you have suffered a little while. I think that we're in this, I think in many ways we're in this age of suffering a little while. That we've got that feel going on with and it's not as if it is Nero lighting the streets of Rome with burning Christians sorts of suffering, but there is a suffering of spirit which that I don't even need to try and put words to, because we all know it. We all know whether it's the denial of seeing a loved one's face, or hugging somebody we care about, or even the loss of people we love, or the loss of vocation and work, and while all of that stuff is awakening and returning, and we're coming out the other side of things, there's something about encountering suffering. I mentioned Sharon's post earlier that that she turns on her television this morning and is just assaulted by whether it's political ads or the nonsense of the world or the violence of the world, and not to say any of it's not serious, but to say it is suffering. But there's something right about us suffering for a little while. That is the world in which we live. And I contend that we're a people born for suffering. If we didn't have suffering, we would seek it out. We would break things just so we might know suffering, because we are born for struggle. We are born to overcome. We are born to see a problem. We're born with eyes that see a problem and that seek to overcome that problem. And that's right and good and true. And in it all, there's this way that we are brought to our own being. And so I want to invite you today to rest in your suffering a little bit, maybe. To hear Peter's words, and the God of all grace, that you're suspended and held in the God of all grace, who called you to his eternal glory in Christ, that you are already, friends, in eternal glory. We say, we live for a while in this world and then we live forever. Well, what that essentially means is we live forever right now. We're living in eternal glory right now. We don't have to wait for that to start. We need to live into this life in the fullness of the eternal glory that is right now. That's not a someday thing. That's not a someday promise. That's a right now promise. And after we've suffered a little while, this life, which will bring us all manner of heartbreaks and manner of things that will plague us, manner of things that will drag us down. I think that's so much of this, like just everything, everywhere you turn, there's just something that seems to be dragging us down. And that the glory in Christ will himself restore you and make you strong and firm and steadfast. You see, that's the promise. We're going to go through some stuff. We are. You and me, we're going to go through some stuff. But there is a promise of the restoration of strength and firmness and steadfastness that is in this struggle. I want to read you a little piece. I want to close today with reading you this little piece from Alice Hoffman. It is lovely, and I figured trying to figure a way to just tell it to you, but I thought I'd read it to you because it is beautiful in the way that it embraces this notion of our suffering for a little while, of the notion of our struggle, and the notion of our restoration of our struggle. She writes this. She says, during my radiation treatment, I read Man's Search for Meaning. People around me said, isn't that book depressing? But it wasn't. It was honest. The author, Viktor Frankl, was a psychiatrist who lost nearly everyone he loved in the Holocaust. This fact already makes your problems feel small, even if you are in the radiation waiting room. Frankl later developed a theory about tragedy and sorrow, that it is these experiences that make us human and define who we are. I was looking for an answer in the waiting room. It was the beginning of my search for advice on how to survive. Here is the lesson I learned from Frankl about his time in the concentration camp, an explanation of how certain people are able to continue on despite extreme darkness. We had to learn ourselves. These are Frankl's words. We had to learn ourselves, and furthermore, we had to teach the despairing men that it did not really matter what we expected from life, but rather what life expected from us. We needed to stop asking about the meaning of life and instead to think of ourselves as those who are being questioned by life, daily and hourly. Our answer must consist not in talk and in meditation, but in right action and right conduct. Life ultimately means taking the responsibility to find the right answer to its problems and to fulfill the task which it constantly sets for each individual. Hoffman picks up here. We are all responsible for our actions and our reactions. We are responsible for how we respond to situations we cannot control. I would not run away from my circumstances or control the path of my disease, but I could control what I did with my experience of that illness. I chose to become a fundraiser for breast cancer. That was my right answer to my problem. As a matter of fact, I think it may be the rightest and best answer I've ever found. When you help others, your own troubles aren't as heavy. In fact, you can fold them like a handkerchief and place them in your pocket. They're still there, but they're not the only thing you carry. Friends, the only thing, you do not only carry your suffering. You do not only carry your struggle for these days. You do not only carry. You carry great agency and great love. You carry the glory and the majesty of the one who made you. You carry the God of all grace with you, who calls you to eternal glory in Christ, and who will restore you and make you strong and firm and steadfast. That is what you carry in these days. And it is my hope and the promise that you, in your struggles and your work, will find your ways, find your things, find your answers of action in these days. Because it is through that firmness and that restoration and that grace and that steadfastness comes to you and to the whole world. All right, friends, that's my hope for you today, and that's my thought. I hope you will you have the ability to enjoy this day. If it's anything like where I am, you can get out and put some sunlight on your face and recognize that you can carry that suffering in these of your days. In the midst of all this, we will be back next week with another 11:11. We'll also gather for worship on Sunday at 10 a.m. We'll be here on Facebook Live, and we'll also be right at 282 Rock Street. Come and join us. Come and be a part of the journey. We'll also we have ongoing our C.S. Lewis class, which you can drop into. There's no requirement to be kind of following along and reading the book. Each class kind of stands alone on its own. So if you want to jump in on that, there's a Zoom link in the event or we'll be right here on the platform, and you can come on by as well. With that, grace and peace, my friends.